everyone, this is Kelly from The Truth in Story, and I wanted to do a walkthrough of, or look at, the Oracle of Mystical Moments by Katrin, I guess it would be Katrin Wells Stein, and it is produced by US Game Systems. Now this is actually the second deck that I had. I know I have a random crystal here. I was actually doing a reading and I used this actually in conjunction with, just a little pause here for me. It actually works really beautifully and looks really beautiful with the Pagan Otherworlds, which seems like a strange combination, but they work really well together. Anyways, I had it out, and so I wanted to, and I've done some readings with it now, and so I wanted to just take a moment to talk about it, because I really had mixed feelings about, this is my second deck, so let me reverse for a minute. I purchased this deck myself, basically because of Larissa from the Bard's Lament. It was pretty much her fault. She just really had some great things to say about it, had some good experiences with it, and I was like, I don't know. I don't really get on with like just people to decks, like they're just a bunch of people. I just wasn't sure about it, but she had great experience with it, and I thought, you know what, it's not an expensive deck. Trying to see if it says the retail here, but certainly on Amazon, it doesn't cost. It's not that an expensive deck. So I thought I'm going to give it a try, because generally Larissa and I tend to, we obviously have some differences and things, but for the most part, I do listen when she says she's really had a strong experience with something. And so I went ahead and purchased it. I literally got it, I think, on a Saturday during or just before live chat. I opened it up and we kind of looked at it in live chat, and I was a little underwhelmed. The images are beautiful and surreal and everything, but it was mostly to do with the titles, because I felt like you really couldn't do a whole lot with the images and the titles without looking it up in the book for some keywords. And that's kind of, actually, speaking of which, where is the guidebook? Well, I'll get there in a minute. We'll look at the guidebook in a minute. But I felt like in that first initial look at them, like this was something that you just couldn't pick up intuitively. I mean, you can get intuitive hits, but some of them were just like, what? Like, what am I supposed to do with that, And so I just, got busy. Things were, as usual, life gets hectic, and I never really went back and did anything with it. And then I had a friend of mine that I wanted to send it to, because I thought she would really enjoy it. And she, I felt like she could use a little bit of a pick-me-up. And so I sent it to her without having, and I thought, I can get it again if I want it, but I wanted to send it on to her anyway. So I sent it on to her the very day that I put it in the mail to send to her. Queen Osset, who has a YouTube channel on YouTube, She has a YouTube channel here, fantastic, and I love her Instagram. Anyways, she messaged me that she was sending me this in a Lenormand deck, and I was telling her, funny thing, I had just sent this on, and I remember thinking and I told her that when I left the shop, I had that feeling like, what, I'm probably going to end up buying that back, because there's just something, I hadn't really looked at it much, I hadn't even tried it really, and so I thought, I'm going to probably just end up getting that one back again, but, I wasn't stressed about it, it just came out, it's not going to be hard to find. But anyways, and she had sent it to me, so I felt like, okay, well, it's come back to me that quickly. Obviously, there's something I need to look into a little bit more about this, right? And so I've done some readings with it, both for myself and for clients, and I have to say that it reads really beautifully, and I can't really put my finger on why, because there are some things about it that are somewhat problematic. Certainly ethnically or racially, I guess you should say. I'm not sure the correct way to put that. It's pretty much European, Caucasian, pretty much lots and lots of women or girls of women. There are some men in the deck. more than some decks, but that's really sad when this is kind of really pushing it. There is a little guy here. I think that's a little guy there. That's a girl over there. So that one's even kind of pushing it for me. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I love this image. So it's one of my favorite images in the deck, and it is a guy in a bowler hat with a massive, not massive, with a wonderful beard. Love this. There are a few men represented, but we're talking about out of 52 oracle cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six guys, that's it. Two, what I would say would be any other ethnicity than Caucasian women, only 2. And so then it really does look like a sort of museum of not old art, from Europe. And I don't believe that's the case. Like, I'm not sure how this art was particularly produced. Some of it does look like old artwork. And some of it, I'm not sure, to be honest. Some of it looks newer. Some of it looks like it's got some older art blended in with it. So I'm not entirely sure the art style or who on how it was created. And so there's lots and lots of, the bulk of it is sort of what I would call very surreal images. And we're going to obviously flip through this, but the bulk of it is very surrealist imagery. Dream quality. I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. But I did find the guidebook, so that's good. Oh, she just gets barking. What can you do? She does not respect the sanctity of a walkthrough. So the bulk of it is definitely just surrealist art. There are a good chunk that predominantly have animals or half people, half animals. I think I missed one in there. I saw one as a sort of a hermit crab or something woman. But that's one kind of random, I want to say that might be the only one without an actual part, at least a part of a person. Love that one. I mean, there's some beautiful imagery. This I'm not fond of. I don't like creepy children, and creepy squid children really don't work for me. There's a lot of botanical, and of course all of this is also surrealist, but there is a lot of beautiful sort of botanical women in flowers, or women part flowers, or women covered by flowers, or little fairy children. I do really love this image. Like, she's literally listening to the earth. So I love, a lot of these images are just, they really are stunning. This is not one of my favorite ones, although I guess she's kind of, her head's, hair braids are kind of going up into becoming tree-like. Not sure there, but definitely botanical. Again, botanical. So you get that sort of old botanical feel to a good chunk of them. Yeah, I think that's the only one that doesn't have, well, nope, that doesn't have any people. So there may be a few, but there's not too many that don't have any of those elephants I forgot. But you can see there's like half people. We're going to go through them. I'm just trying to give an overall feel. There's like the half seashell woman. But it's very surrealistic artwork. So there are a few more than I thought. There's the elephant one too, which is probably one of my favorites. So there's a few, but only like 5 that don't have women in it, and only 6 that have men in it. So it's definitely a feminine feeling deck, and a very dreamy, surrealistic. I know I've used that word like 12 times, but that's definitely sort of the feeling that you're going to get from this deck. In terms of backing, is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, there's just nothing for me not to love about that backing. I like that it's borderless with just this various colors of pastel with, I think, the same pattern, yeah. Sort of a etching pattern on either side of it, numbered with the title on it, which I do think is important that it be numbered. It makes it very quick to find this, because I do think a lot of the times you might need this, although you can just go off obviously onto your own and just ignore some of the keywords. But as I said, I have been using this for some readings, and I have actually found it to be really good at reading. So, you know, I wanted to give it a try after I had kind of been a little like, I don't know, in the initial look at the cards. And then, so then when I got it, you know, when it was sent again to me, after I had moved it on, I thought, okay, let's just see what's here before doing a walkthrough, and I've been quite pleasantly surprised. I still don't know exactly, you know, what about it makes it read so beautifully, but there's definitely something there, enough that makes me want to continue to explore it. And I know we're going to do a walkthrough of them, but let's just take a peek at some of the cards. So we have transformation. We have like a bird. Now, of course, that could mean different things to different people. This Miss Sunshine comes up quite a bit for me for some reason. I love the light in the dark, but right now, being held aloft by the light. So we have transformation like a bird, and we have this idea of Miss Sunshine. So let's take a look at the guidebook. It's just a little stapled guidebook. It doesn't have any images in the cards. I know we're kind of doing this backwards from what I normally do things, but that's okay. That's all right. But I do want to give you some ideas here of how. So for transformation, we have process, identity, and seeking answers. Of course, we have a butterfly, which does tend to go with our understandings of transformation. I will say that at least it explains the image. So a woman is dressed in a red polka dot dress. The upper part has already begun the process of transforming into a butterfly. With her hand, she touches her chest. Is the butterfly a part of her body? Is it a symbol of her soul? Is it a woman transforming into a new life? This card leaves us with more questions than answers. Maybe you'll find answers by thinking about how you would respond to these questions. Am I the person I would like to be? What can I do right now to transform some small part of myself? So you see how it does address the image, which I think is great, and gives you that kind of, okay, this should leave you feeling a little bit uncertain, and this should open you up to asking more questions, right? So I do like that about, and it's again very small. That was just, you know, a little paragraph. So let's keep trying here. I will say that I've had really good success with not looking at the guidebook, which when I first initially looked at the deck on live chat, I kind of didn't think that that was going to be possible without just ignoring the titles. But I have had, you know, success taking the titles somewhat into effect, but then just kind of going off and doing whatever. It does work beautifully. So like a bird, be focused, forward-looking, possibilities and motivations. Like I don't think of those things all with a bird. I do think of focus, although usually with birds of prey. A woman full of expectation looks into the future. There are no boundaries to what she can accomplish. Like the bird next to her, who flies strong and direct, she knows that now is a time for focused energy. You may have found yourself losing motivation lately. So you know, you've got this idea of focus, forward-looking possibilities, and motivation. I don't know that I would necessarily get that from either the image or this like a bird. Now, once you read it, you say, okay, yeah, she's forward facing. She's looking to the future. We have this sort of wing coming onto her back where she's becoming like a bird. The bird and her are both focused in the right direction. Okay, that makes sense. But you definitely want it, if you want to kind of get a feel for it, I would say that you need to take and it's a small book. Like it's, you know, it's not hard to quickly peek and see what it's doing. Because like a bird could, especially a smaller bird like this, could mean so many different things. But it does make sense when you look at, so we have this idea of transformation towards focus and energy. What are they focused on? Well, they're looking over here at Miss Sunshine. And so So Miss Sunshine is about sun, light, energy, courage, and clarity. So she's looking to becoming focused on courage, being focused on clarity. So we have focus and clarity. A woman rises high into the sky. Her hair shines bright like the sun. Her skirt looks like a huge building. She comes from a darker place. Beneath her lies gloom and shadows, but her light is glowing. She is like the energy of life and the sun of the universe. She focuses her intentions on the positive and is able to gain clarity. She leaves the night and fears behind. Now, I am personally somebody who loves the night, and I love night skies, and I love the moon. But for right now, in this image, it's easy to see that the sun is in the sky. The sun is important. There are other ones in which the night sky is more important. So it's not, while in this card, the sun is ruling, there are also other ones in which the night is ruling really beautifully. So you definitely get both of those energies here. So it's beautiful to look at. It actually reads really beautifully. I've used it for a variety of different kinds of readings, and it makes you think. I think that's kind of what it is, I guess, because sometimes something comes up. I mean, we've got the gardener, but she's shaped like a building, right? She's got building clothes, but she's a gardener. And so it does kind of make you go, and I think because of that, excuse me, I'm going to make a big yawn. I think because of that, there is sort of there doesn't feel the need, and I don't always feel that need anyways, but there's an extra non-need for being able to just see where it takes you, see where kind of looking at the images, I do think is very image heavy. I do think that there are times in which the keyword, this is rose garden. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could do, but there's rose garden, there's red garden, just the name Eva here, even though I love this moon dance. So some of them, like Sleeping Beauty's Dream, that has so much connotation there. So some of them really do, but some of them are like these types of ones where I'm just sort of like, okay, that wouldn't mean anything to me. So let's take the title, Eva, wouldn't mean anything to me. So let's take a look at Eva. Duplicity, deception, and caution. Now, this does kind of look, now that you read that, you say, okay, well, that looks like that could be like a Venus flytrap or a whole bunch of Venus flytraps that are eating this woman. Out of the jungle steps a woman, half of her body covered in exotic plants and flowers. A snake wriggles across her neck. The woman presents herself like a sweet fruit to be picked. She offers excitement and novelty, but be careful. Her kiss could be as toxic as the bite of the snake. Like a deceitful friend or lover, her unreadable countenance masks her true intentions. I would not get that, to be honest, from looking at this. Now, as I look closely, obviously I do see kind of Venus flytrappy. We do have a snaky kind of feel. There is a snake around her neck. I don't necessarily think of snakes as being deception. I know it's the Garden of Eden, but but I wouldn't look at this card and see deception here. Now, once you read it, you can kind of go there or not, because the name is Eva, again, nod to Eve in the Garden of Eden, not necessary. But, you can do anything you want with it, because there really isn't a title that locks you into that, right? This can just be beautiful Eva, who is, you have to be wary of, because there are beautiful things in the jungle, like, carnivorous plants that you do need to be careful of. Everything isn't the way that it looks, a way that it seems, right? Same thing with it's just a red garden. Like, what, that doesn't mean anything to me. We have this beautiful flower woman, but we have a lot of flower women in this deck, and so that doesn't really mean anything to me. Gratitude, pleasure, and happiness versus the rose garden, which is about sensitivity, awareness of nature, integration here, which I think could in some ways be said about either one, although, her hair's turning into a petal. So Again, I feel like there are definitely some ambiguous titles, and definitely some combinations of ambiguous art with ambiguous titles. Whereas this does, once you look closely, I think you can do something with that. These are a little bit more ambiguous. I think you could have flip-flopped either one of these images with either one of the titles, except for there's not a red garden, but there's a red flower here. Either one of these keywords would have worked for this, right? So that's what I'm saying, is I do think there's some degree of issues with some of these cards, in that sometimes some of the text is ambiguous and the images are ambiguous. It makes me kind of feel like, okay, was this pre-existing artwork that we're trying to put something on? So, but given all of what I've just said, it does read really beautifully, and isn't that what the important thing is? I'm going to go ahead and put these back in order so that we can do a flip through. Again, I know I've kind of done this backwards from normal, but sometimes when I'm not sure about something, that's how I approach it. So let's take a look. Okay, once again, backing, absolutely beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. Love the format, obviously, of the borderless with the kind of multicolored bottom. It's really unobtrusive and seems to go well with the card that it is representing. So here we have, number one is Day and Night, which is beautiful. Although I would get something very different out of this. The keywords are about uncertainties, fear, worries, undecisions. I wouldn't get that. I would get cycles of day and night, the turning of the days, different things of that nature. And so whether you choose to simply go with what the title and the image says, or whether you kind of go with the keywords, obviously that's always something that we make the decision on with oracles anyways. Here we have liberty, this idea of choices and confidence and letting go, letting the bird come out of the cage. Again, just, really surrealist hair and the things hanging off of it. But they're beautiful images, and she is letting go of this bird that she has captive there. Sleeping Beauty's Dream. I really like this because we have her, which is the truth, her dream is what kind of keeps everybody else in the castle confined. But this has keywords of soul journey, power of imagination, and inner strength. We have this moon dance here again. You can see balance here. So this one you can see. Now the name itself doesn't mean a whole lot, but it is, you can see somebody who is dancing. She's waltzing with the moon, it says. She's dancing through. So very confident, very balanced, off on adventure. I love that. Bloom. I mean, you can see the word bloom with this, and she does look really confident. Very calm, very confident face, so you can certainly get that feeling from this. I don't get the sense of confidence necessarily with the word bloom, but it certainly works. Love this. Love this listening to the earth, mindfulness, sensitivity, and empathy. Pure nature. Pure nature probably would not be hiding behind a flower, just saying, but we do see grace and blooming and freshness. Her face is fresh and clean, and she does look very youthful, and so it definitely works in that sense of things. We already talked about the red garden and the rose garden. Beautiful artwork. I particularly really love that one. Flower spirit, I mean, that kind of makes sense there. Friendship, she's friends with her and in tune with and connected with, but sort of that tenderness and that friendship with her, the plant energies here. Here we have the queen bee, a strength and growth and motherhood. She almost looks like a hive with bees all around her, and I think bees kind of making up her dress. And in her hands we have the idea of taking care of all of the little creatures around her. This one is, I really quite like. This is about transformation, but it's in transformation through releasing. And I think that that's actually beautiful. I think that the All is Connected is a strange title for innovation, transformation, growth, and release. But I mean, you can see the connection here in the plants, or with this like spider web kind of holding things together. So you can see that, but then the keywords are more about releasing and growth through releasing. So again, sometimes there's like ambiguousness between the image and the title, but I really love this particular card, has come up in beautiful ways. The Morning Dew Girl. Again, this is one that I wouldn't have a clue. This has, the keywords are about facing your fears, awareness and consciousness. But between the name or the image, which is beautiful, I wouldn't come up with either one of those things. I would have to look this up in the guidebook to get that sense of facing fears. Now, to me, she looks very confident. She looks to, she's looking straight at you. She's doing what has to be done. So I kind of get other things from her than I would for facing your fears. So, I know I'm going to definitely get comments that I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but I'm trying to just be clear about my unclearness of this deck, because again, it works. I've gotten really great readings, and even from some of these that have been less clear in the moment and in the reading, they work. Or just a quick look at the guidebook isn't, it takes a second, right? The Art of Seduction, Love, Womanhood, Passion, and Seduction. This is interesting because it has it about womanhood and love, but it's also a keyword of seduction, which generally comes, you don't generally have cards about love and womanhood. I guess it's the passionate, seductive side of woman. So again, it's got a man in the card, but it's really not about the man, it's about the woman. So it is a very feminine deck. I would definitely stick with that. This is a stunning image. The Elixir of Life, Healing, Consolidation, Reinvigoration, and Truth. I love this with the poppies that are here, or they say it's deep red roses. I saw poppies. See, you see what you want to see, right? I think it's absolutely beautiful. She is listening to what's on the wind. She is sitting and listening and what needs to be healed. It's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful card. Just artistically, I think, it's just, they're beautiful to look at. We talked about this one. We talked about this one. Treasured Memories, I think, is sweet in the balloon. And kind of memories, nostalgia, this kinds of things. That makes sense. We have the Journey here, love of adventure, curiosity, which with both the girl and the young fawn, you do get that sense of curiosity, and, wanting to be off on an adventure, this kind of thing. Sometimes you get a little bit of a feeling for some of the imagery of the Chicoli Tarot. Not the same, but there's a dreaminess quality about some of them. Under My Umbrella, this is compassion and care. You can see he's holding the umbrella over the head of this giant parrot, or he's the little guy and the parrot's big, normal, or the parrot's huge and he's normal. We just do not know. But again, you can see that sense of taking care of or protecting something. Tiny Triumphs, attitude, belief in the power of perseverance. So triumph no matter how small you might be. We talked about this one. We have the Gift, Whimsy, Excitement, Curiosity, and Gift. We do have a gift here, and working with the concept of the gift is quite easy. We do have a beautiful swan here. So that one's pretty easy to work with. The Mermaid's Love, partnership, love, support, and accord. So the fact that she's a mermaid, it's not, you're not really looking at it as a mermaid's love. It's a card about love and partnership and coming together. They're from different worlds, but they're going to be able to figure a way to balance things out. Kind of also maybe a little bit about, sometimes it takes a little bit of work, but if it's worth it, you'll do so. We have the protective next. We have nature, motherhood, protector, incubation with the egg and the feathers. So very much a creation of life and protection of that which is fragile here. Transformation we read. The gardener here is about non-judgment, acceptance, and self-compassion. So again, I just wouldn't see that with either. The gardener, I guess, is tending your own issues, I suppose. Standing proud in a lush green garden, a woman holds a growing bulb in her arms. 2 small houses spring from the plant, and her skirt is transformed into a house. She is the gardener of her soul, the caretaker of her home. Her feelings are the flowers of her garden. By taking care of herself, she keeps growing stronger. So she's the gardener of her soul. Once you know that, then you can go somewhere with this, but you might end up somewhere very different, which is not to say that that's a wrong thing without looking at the guidebook. Can You Hear Me is a card of loneliness and needing to communicate. She's got the horn that she's probably has blown, but she's not really getting anything back, and there is a sense of emptiness there, which is beautiful, but you know, lonely feeling. This one has come up in really good ways. A perfect key. You've got the right key and the right lock. It's Yellowy Sunshine for happiness. So I quite like that. This is beautiful. The white rose of hope. A hope beacon solution lighting the way. It certainly makes sense. The Lorelei is a mermaid, a power, responsibility, fate, and grace. If you see, she's anchoring this ship. So there is that sense of responsibility as well as that idea of power. She could yank this ship over. A little bit of that idea of fate here and having some grace, I guess. What will she do with the power that she has? Again, the name, you know, there are Lorelei, you know, that's a name that you do here. But I don't think most people would see this and connect that, but you do get that sense. She's got the ship in her hand, so I don't know why this wouldn't be a keyword of power or responsibility or something of that nature, just to make it less needing to go back and forth, but I do like it. Touch the Sky, lost in thoughts. She looks like she's lost in thoughts. Touching the sky, you know, daydreaming, cloud gazing. I do quite like that one because that to me makes a lot of sense, and it's a beautiful picture. They're all beautiful pictures. Weaving flowers. So this is obviously on the cover of the box. Creator, art of the universe, and integration. Yeah, she's gathering delicate petals of blossoms and making them into flowers. So she's actually taking the petals and creating them. So we do have that sense of this kind of creator energy. I probably would not get that from either Weaving the Flowers or the image. I love this abracadabra, magic and secrets and patterns in the stars, the idea of destiny in the stars. I think it's awesome. Love this one as well, Long Way Home. A journey, a remembrance, passage from one place to another. I love air balloons, and especially quirky magical ones like this. Here we have the House of Flowers, the power of nature and the joy of life, diversity, beauty. Yeah, I don't know that I would get that or think about, you know, I would think about beauty in the home, I suppose, because you literally have beauty in the home. But this is the power of nature. Even a single bloom in a vase can transform a space. So bringing the outside world in can really bring that connection to the outside world, I suppose. No rain today. Comfort. The sun is comforting this cloud spirit here. And so even though there was maybe a start to some rain, the storm clouds are being transformed and turned into turning your face to the sun. We have a beautiful lullaby card. Restoration, dreams, rhythm, lullabies. You just think of this wonderful man up into the sitting on the moon and playing these lullabies on his cello. I do love that card. I just love the image. My home is my castle. Experience of life, growth, knowledge, and age. You know, you might start out with a little tower, but I guess she has the experience of this whole lifetime, this whole city that is built up on top of her, I guess. Oh, sunny day, new beginnings, luck, optimism, the sun is shining, life is good, she's facing the future forward. It's going to be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Home in the sky is that sort of idea of wanderlust, going off on adventure, but still having a safe haven, making a home wherever you are, that kind of thing. The change of seasons, again, transformation. Quite a few transformation cards, but they do have different energies. This is more about the cycles of the seasons, where the one has been about transformation of letting go. The other has been about transformation of you transforming into something else. So I will say that while there are some keyword or thematic overlap, they do have different nuances. And certainly this idea of transformation is a good example of that. Secrets, magic, mystery, and hidden thoughts. Love this. Love all the keys. It's just cool. Love this image of stranded. It's it's more of a shadow card. This ship is not going anywhere right now. There's misdirection here, some fear of failure, getting stuck. Definitely that feeling there. Love this new directions because I love anything that has to do with dandelions. You know, going off on a new direction. You don't know where you're going. That sort of adventure-y thing also kind of shows up quite a bit. I haven't sat and kind of analyzed those to see are there nuances there as well. But this has that idea of wishes as well that comes with the dandelions. Love this. This again is that idea of protection, but the wonder of nighttime that I think is wonderful. So I love that. Lifelong friendship, dependability. So again, you've got a couple like that, as well as the one with the umbrella over the head where you're kind of taking care of. This is more having a friendship with. Again, this one is a little bit more protective, but it's also protection, but a beautiful. This to me is more about a wonder of the night than it is so much to do with the protection. So there are some nuances. Butterfly Garden, I'm guessing, has transformation again. Nope. Curiosity, discovery, and those little moments in life when a giant butterfly lands on your head. But taking time to notice the small, even when in this image it is ginormous. This is a cool image as well. Keys on trees, believing in yourself, solutions, creativity. On the top of a winding, shiny metal tower, there is an elephant captured in a cage. A vast jungle of trees and plants surrounds him, but the elephant is not distressed. There are keys hanging from the trees. Keys on trees. If he picks one, he can open the cage and release himself into the wise. No situation is true. So it's kind of Eight of Swords-y. You just need to pick up the key. You need to figure out your way out. Don't panic. Just kind of work it out. There's a way to figure it out. This one I love. This has come up quite a bit, this idea of really observing, paying attention, watching, carefully watching, has come up in really strong ways. This is beautiful. I always told my kids, I still tell my kids, that I love them to the moon and back. But this is about wishes and things that you're longing for. It's just beautiful. Not my favorite. This is one I could actually leave out, but this is about innocence, joy of play, and wonder. And to me, this does not reflect that. She does not look joyous. She doesn't look like she's playing. She doesn't look like she's having fun. So this is probably my absolute least favorite in the deck. And there was no harm and no foul in just having a 51 card deck. It's the very last card. So this is one I may not leave in because I don't necessarily feel the joy of play. I feel that wonder more in the night card one than I do in this. But I also understand that I do have a bias against creepy looking children. So your mileage may vary on this particular card. So there you have it. You know, a little bit backwards look at the Oracle of the Mystical Moments. But I am really, I'm enjoying it. It's much more than I thought that I would. So that's been an interesting journey with this. Again, buying it, giving it to someone, and having it come back to me. So I think that we have some work to do together, and I am quite enjoying it, both for myself and, as I said, for clients. It's actually reading really beautifully. So there you have it. I hope that this helps. I know some people have asked about this, and or in the same boat as I was in, where you're just not sure about it. So I wanted to make sure I gave you my thoughts on it now that I have used it for a little bit, and maybe able to give at least a better, like, instead of just like, okay, there's still some things, but it's these are the good points. So I hope that helps in some way.